The vast Imperial Armada emerged from hyperspace like a storm of metal and light. 10,000 warships, each one larger than Earth's biggest city, arranged themselves in perfect formation around the blue planet. Their hulls gleamed with alien metals that had never known defeat across 100 conquered worlds. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of the flagship Dominator, his forearms crossed behind his back. He was tall, with gray skin and eyes that glowed yellow in the dim light of the command center. For 300 years, he had led the Empire's greatest fleet. Every species they encountered had fallen within days, some within hours. "Sir, we have reached the target world," reported his lieutenant, a younger officer named Krell. "The inhabitants call it Earth. Our scouts report. They have achieved basic space flight, but nothing more. Their weapons are primitive projectiles and nuclear devices." Vex made a sound that passed for laughter among his kind. "Nuclear weapons? How quaint. The Gorvak had antimatter bombs, and they lasted exactly 17 minutes against us. Begin the transmission." Down on Earth, every screen, every radio, every communication device suddenly displayed the same message. In the Pentagon's war room, General Tom Harris watched as an alien face appeared on the main display. The being spoke in perfect English, though its mouth moved wrong for the words. "People of Earth, I am Commander Vex of the Imperial Armada. Your planet has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 1 hour to surrender. Resistance will result in the complete destruction of your military forces, followed by the enslavement of your population. We have conquered 100 worlds. You will be no different." The transmission ended. General Harris turned to his aide, Captain Mike Johnson. "Get me the President, and contact Project Titan immediately." Around the world, similar scenes played out. In Moscow, General Evan Petrov made urgent calls. In Beijing, Admiral Li Wei activated secret protocols. In London, Prime Minister James Walker convened an emergency meeting. But they all knew the same thing. Humanity had been preparing for this day for 70 years. Back on the Dominator, Vex studied the tactical displays. "Their military forces are laughable," he said. "A few thousand primitive vessels, mostly confined to their planet's surface. Ground forces with chemical-propelled weapons. They don't even have energy shields. Should we accept their surrender when it comes, Commander? Ask Krell if they're smart enough to offer it. Though I admit, I hope they fight. It's been too long since we had even a moment's entertainment." On Earth, the clock ticked down. In a bunker deep beneath Nevada, Dr. Alan Foster stood before a console covered in switches and displays. Beside him, Dr. Emma White ran final calculations on her tablet. "Titan is ready," Foster said into his headset. "All stations report green." "Confirmed," White added. "The quantum field generators are at full power. We can activate on your command, General." General Harris's voice crackled through the speakers. "Hold for now. Let's see if they'll talk first." 45 minutes had passed. On the Dominator, Vex grew impatient. No response yet. Perhaps they're paralyzed with fear. "Sir," Krell interrupted, "we're detecting energy signatures from the planet. They single quotes unusual." "Unusual how?" "I've never seen readings like this. It's not nuclear, not antimatter. It's something else entirely." Vex frowned, expression that involved all 4 of his eye ridges drawing together. "Show me." The tactical display lit up with points of light across Earth's surface. Hundreds of them, all pulsing in perfect synchronization. "What are those?" Vex demanded. Before Krell could answer, a new transmission came from Earth. This time, it was General Harris who appeared on their screens. "Commander Vex, this is General Tom Harris of Earth's United Defense Force. We've received your message. We have a counter-proposal." Vex leaned forward, amused. "You dare negotiate? You have nothing to bargain with, human." Harris smiled. And there was something in that smile that made Krell step back from his console. That's where you're wrong, Commander. You see, we've been listening to space for a very long time. We heard about your empire 20 years ago from the refugees you created. We know about your conquests, and we've been preparing. The energy readings on the tactical display suddenly spiked, going from yellow to deep red. Preparing? Vex scoffed. With what? Your nuclear toys? No, Harris said simply. With something much better. You have 10 seconds to retreat. Asterisk Commander Vex laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge of the Dominator. His crew joined him, their alien voices creating a chorus of mockery that would have terrified any of the 100 species they had conquered before. 10 seconds? Vex said, his yellow eyes bright with amusement. Human, do you comprehend the power arrayed against you? Each of my ships carries enough firepower to crack your planet's crust. I have 10,000 such ships. And you give me an ultimatum? General Harris remained calm on the screen, his expression never changing. 5 seconds, Commander. Sir, Krell said urgently, the energy readings are climbing beyond anything in our database. They're exceeding the theoretical maximum for matter-energy conversion. Impossible, Vex snapped. Check your instruments. I have, sir. 3 times. The readings are accurate. Around Earth, the points of light grew brighter. From the Dominator's view, it looked like the planet was developing bright stars on its surface. The other ships in the Imperial Armada began reporting similar readings, confusion spreading through the fleet like wildfire. Time's up, General Harris said. The lights on Earth pulsed once, and then something extraordinary happened. Space itself seemed to ripple around the planet. The Imperial Armada's instruments went haywire, displays flickering and showing impossible readings. What is this? Vex roared. All ships prepare to fire. Destroy those energy sources. But before a single weapon could charge, the ripple reached the fleet. Every ship in the Imperial Armada suddenly found itself wrapped in what looked like a soap bubble made of pure light. The bubbles shimmered with rainbow colors, beautiful and delicate looking. Captain Dana Ross stood in the Titan control room, watching her screens with satisfaction. Quantum containment fields are stable around all targets, she reported. 10,000 ships successfully enveloped. Dr. Foster nodded. Begin Phase 2. On the Dominator, panic was setting in. We can't fire. Krell shouted. The weapons won't respond. Nothing is working. Impossible. Vex slammed his fists on the command console. Break through that barrier. Use everything we have. They tried. The Imperial Armada, which had crushed civilizations and burned worlds, threw everything they had at the strange bubbles surrounding them. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, antimatter charges. Nothing even made the barriers flicker. General Harris appeared on their screens again. Commander Vex, what you're experiencing is something we call a quantum lock. Your ships exist in a state of temporal suspension. You can see out, we can see in, but nothing can pass through those barriers. Not matter, not energy, not even time itself moves normally inside those fields. This is impossible. Vex shouted. No species we've encountered has had such technology. That's because you've never encountered a species that knew you were coming, Harris replied. 20 years ago, we received a message from the survivors of the realm of Gorvak. They told us about your empire, your tactics, your technology. And they gave us something else, the complete scientific database of every species you've conquered. Dr. White stepped into view beside Harris. You see, Commander, your empire made a critical mistake. You left survivors, refugees who fled to the far corners of the galaxy, carrying with them the knowledge of their fallen civilizations. And many of them came here, to Earth. Vex felt something he hadn't experienced in 3 centuries: fear. You're lying, am I? Harris asked. Tell me, do you recognize this design? A holographic projection appeared between them, showing technical schematics. Vex's eyes widened. It was Gorvak technology, but modified, improved in ways even the Gorvak hadn't imagined. The Gorvak were masters of quantum mechanics, Dr. White continued. The Solani were experts in energy manipulation. The Threen understood temporal dynamics better than anyone. And humans? Well, we've always been good at taking things apart and putting them back together better. You combined their technologies, Krell whispered, understanding dawning on his face. Not just combined, Foster said, joining the transmission. We improved them. You see, Commander, humans have a unique trait. We're not the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest. But we're adaptable. We take the best of everything we encounter and make it our own. The quantum fields around the Imperial ships pulsed brighter. Inside the Dominator, the lights began to dim. Your ships are running on emergency power now, Harris explained. The quantum fields are slowly draining your energy reserves. Not enough to harm you, just enough to keep you contained. What do you want? Vex asked, his voice no longer carrying its earlier arrogance. Asterisk. General Harris leaned back in his chair, studying the alien commander on the screen. Around him, the Earth's United Command Center buzzed with activity. Representatives from every nation watched the exchange, while Dr. Foster and Dr. White monitored the quantum containment fields. What we want, Commander Vex, is simple, Harris said. We want the killing to stop. The conquests, the enslavement, all of it ends today. Vex's forearms tensed. You dare make demands of the Empire? Even if you can hold our fleet, there are millions more ships. The Emperor will send armada after armada until your world burns. Will he? Asked a new voice. The screen split, and another figure appeared, an elderly human man with kind eyes and gray hair. Hello, Commander. I'm Professor David Chun, and I've spent the last 15 years studying your Empire's history. Another human expert? Vex snarled. Not exactly, Chun smiled. I learned from the best teachers, the survivors of your conquests. The Gorvik historian Tech, the Solani philosopher Era, dozens of others. They painted a very interesting picture of your empire. Chun pulled up a holographic star map. Your empire spans 30,000 light years, encompasses 100 conquered worlds. Impressive, until you realize it's also completely overstretched. Your military is spread thin, maintaining order through fear alone. You know nothing. Vex spat. I know that it takes you 6 months to travel from one edge of your empire to the other, Chun continued. I know that 17 worlds have attempted rebellion in the last decade alone. I know that your economy depends entirely on resources extracted from conquered planets. Lieutenant Krell's eyes widened. This human knew things that even most Imperial officers didn't know. Chun's expression grew serious. But most importantly, Commander, I know about the Void Hunters. The bridge of the Dominator fell silent. Even saying that name was forbidden in the Empire. Double quotes. How double quotes. Vex's voice was barely a whisper. The refugees told us everything, Chun said. An ancient enemy at your borders, held back only by constant vigilance. Half your real military might is dedicated to that eternal watch. This conquering fleet? It's all you can spare for expansion. General Harris stood up. So here's our offer, Commander. We'll release your fleet unharmed, with all your weapons and technology intact. You return to your empire and deliver this message. Earth is off limits. Any ship that enters our solar system will be contained just like you are now. And if we refuse? Vex asked, though his voice lacked conviction. Dr. Foster typed something on his console. Suddenly, one of the smaller Imperial ships at the edge of the formation began to shrink. The quantum field around it contracted. growing brighter as it compressed. The fields can do more than contain, Foster said calmly. We can shrink them down to the size of a marble if we want. Your ship and crew would be perfectly preserved, just very small. We could keep you as souvenirs. The shrinking stopped when the ship was about half its original size. The crew inside was unharmed, but undoubtedly terrified. Or, Dr. White added, we could simply keep you here forever. The fields are self-sustaining. They draw energy from quantum fluctuations in space itself. Your great-great-great-grandchildren would still be stuck in those bubbles, watching the universe age around them. Commander Vex looked at his tactical displays. Every readout confirmed what the humans were saying. They were completely helpless. But we don't want that, Harris said. Earth doesn't seek war, Commander. We never have. Our history is bloody enough without adding galactic conquest to it. We just want to be left alone. The Emperor will never agree to this, Vex said, but uncertainty colored his voice. He will when he sees the recording of this encounter, Sean replied. When he realizes that attacking Earth means losing ships permanently with no gain. Your empire runs on cost-benefit analysis, Commander. We're making ourselves too costly to conquer. On Earth, President Maria Rodriguez watched from the White House Situation Room. General Harris, are you certain about releasing them? Harris nodded. Yes, Madam President. Fear of the unknown is more powerful than any demonstration of force. They need to report back to spread the word that Earth is untouchable. Back on the Dominator, Vex considered his options. Pride warred with pragmatism, but he had survived 300 years by knowing when to fight and when to retreat. If we agree, he said slowly, how do we know you won't attack the Empire? General Harris exchanged glances with President Rodriguez on his secondary screen. This was the crucial moment they had prepared for, the point where Earth would define its place in the galaxy. Commander Vex, Harris began, Earth has no interest in attacking your empire. But we're not naive. We know that simply letting you go isn't enough. That's why we're prepared to offer something more than just threats. A new figure appeared on the screen, Ambassador Jane Turner, Earth's newly appointed representative for galactic affairs. She was a veteran diplomat who had spent years working with the alien refugees. Commander, I've been authorized to present Earth's formal position, Turner said. We propose a treaty. Not just a ceasefire, but a comprehensive agreement that benefits both parties. Vex's yellow eyes narrowed. The Empire does not make treaties with primitives. Primitives who just neutralized your entire fleet? Turner smiled slightly. Let's move past posturing, Commander. Your empire is facing challenges. The Void Hunters grow bolder each year. Rebellions drain your resources. Your economy stagnates because fear is your only tool of governance. She pulled up a holographic document. Earth offers this. We'll establish a neutral zone extending 1 light year around our solar system. Any ship entering without permission gets contained. But outside that zone, we pledge complete non-interference with Imperial operations. That's all? Krell asked, surprised. Not quite, Turner continued. We're also willing to offer something your empire desperately needs, innovation. Dr. Foster joined the conversation. Commander, your empire's technology has barely advanced in 500 years. You conquer, you take, but you don't create. The quantum containment field we're using? We developed it in just 20 years by combining and improving alien technologies. What are you proposing? Vex asked, his tactical mind already working. A research exchange, Foster said. Not military technology. We're not that foolish. But medical advances, agricultural improvements, energy efficiency. Things that could help your empire maintain stability without conquest. On the Dominator's bridge, Vex's officers exchanged glances. The Empire's agricultural worlds were struggling. Several plagues had swept through Imperial colonies in recent decades. President Rodriguez spoke for the first time. Commander, Earth has something unique, a population that includes refugees from 40 different species you've conquered. They've shared their knowledge with us, and we've synthesized it into something new. We could be the innovation hub your empire lacks. The Emperor would never agree to trade with a world that defied him, Vex said, but his tone was thoughtful now. He might if the alternative is losing ships every time he tries to conquer us, Harris pointed out. And if the benefits outweigh his pride. Ambassador Turner leaned forward. There's one more thing, Commander. The refugees living on Earth, they want to send a message to their scattered peoples. A message of hope. The screen changed to show a recording. Dozens of aliens stood together. Gorvuk, Solani, Threen, and many others. They spoke in turns, their words translated. We are the survivors. We found sanctuary on Earth. The humans didn't conquer us or exploit us. They welcomed us. They learned from us, and we learned from them. Together, we created something your empire could never build through fear, a true alliance of species. Tech, the old Gorvek historian, stepped forward. Commander Vex, I remember when your fleet destroyed my world. But these humans did what we couldn't. They found your weakness. Not in your technology or tactics, but in your philosophy. An empire built on fear will always fall to those who refuse to be afraid. The recording ended. On the Dominator, silence reigned. Several of the bridge officers looked troubled. They had been told the refugees were all dead. Lies, Vex said, but his conviction wavered. We can prove it, Turner said. We'll include a data packet with biological scans, genetic markers, personal messages from the refugees to any of their people who might be serving in your fleet. How many conquered species crew your ships, Commander? How many might choose differently if they knew there was hope? This was dangerous territory. The Empire maintained control, partly through despair. Conquered species served because they believed. There was no alternative. General Harris stood. Commander, you have a choice. Return to your Emperor with news of a humiliating defeat and a new enemy with unknown capabilities. Or return with a treaty proposal that could strengthen the Empire while saving face. How would this save face? Vex demanded. Simple, Harris replied. You report that Earth is too costly to conquer right now, but you've negotiated a beneficial arrangement. The Empire gets needed resources and technology. Earth remains independent, but contained. Your Emperor can claim it as a strategic victory. Asterisk. Commander Vex stood motionless on his bridge for a long moment, his forearms crossed behind his back. The weight of 300 years of military service pressed down on him. He had never retreated, never negotiated with a target world. But then again, he had never been so completely outmaneuvered. Sir, Lieutenant Krell whispered, the energy readings from our ships are critical. We have perhaps 6 hours of life support remaining. Vex nodded slowly. Around him, his bridge crew watched in tense silence. These were soldiers who had followed him across the galaxy, who had never known defeat. Now they waited to see if their commander would choose pride or survival. General Harris, Vex finally spoke. I need guarantees. If we agree to your terms, how do we know Earth won't develop even more powerful weapons and attack the Empire? Dr. White answered this time. Because, Commander, we've already had that discussion among ourselves. The quantum containment technology? We could have made it lethal. We could have crushed your ships instantly. But we chose not to. She brought up a display showing Earth's history. Humans have a dark past, Commander. We've had world wars, genocides, nuclear standoffs. We came within minutes of destroying ourselves multiple times. That's why we choose differently now. We've learned that power without wisdom leads to destruction. Besides, General Harris added, Earth has everything we need right here. Our solar system has resources for millions of years. We have no need for conquest. We just want to explore, to learn, to grow in peace. Ambassador Turner stepped forward again. Commander, I'm authorized to make this official. If you agree to take our treaty proposal to your Emperor, we'll release your fleet immediately. You'll have safe passage out of our system, and we'll include a package of medical data that could help with the plague affecting your outer colonies. You know about the plague? Vex couldn't hide his surprise. The refugees told us, Turner said. Some of them are doctors, scientists. They've already developed treatments. Consider it a good faith gesture. Vex turned to look at his tactical display. 10,000 ships, the pride of the Imperial fleet, trapped like insects in amber. His decision would echo through history. Commander, a voice interrupted. It was one of his sub-commanders, Captain Rex, from another ship. Whatever you decide, we'll follow. But, sir, they could have killed us all by now. They haven't. That means something. Other voices joined in, his captains reporting from their trapped vessels. They all said variations of the same thing. They trusted Vex's judgment. The commander closed his yellow eyes for a moment. When he opened them, resolution had replaced uncertainty. General Harris, Ambassador Turner, people of Earth, he began formally. I, Commander Vex of the Imperial Armada, agree to your terms. I will carry your treaty proposal to the Emperor. I cannot guarantee his response, but I will argue for its acceptance. Cheers erupted in Earth's command centers. President Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. They had done it. They had turned away an invasion without firing a single shot. However, Vex continued, and the cheering stopped. I have conditions of my own. We're listening, Harris said. First, I want to meet with some of these refugees. I need to verify they are who you claim. Second, I want a demonstration of this medical technology you mentioned. Third, I want your word that the knowledge of how to create these quantum fields will never be shared with the empires. Enemies. Agreed on all counts, Turner said quickly. We can arrange for a small delegation to visit your flagship before you leave. Dr. Foster began typing. Commander, I'm releasing the containment fields now. It will take about 10 minutes for them to fully dissipate. Your systems will come back online gradually. True to his word, the shimmering bubbles around the Imperial ships began to fade. On the Dominator, lights brightened and consoles hummed back to life. Sir, all systems returning to normal, Krell reported. Weapons are... they're intact. They didn't damage anything. Vex stared at the blue planet below. These humans had held absolute power over his fleet and chose mercy instead of vengeance. It went against everything the Empire taught about power and dominance. An hour later, a small Earth shuttle docked with the Dominator. Ambassador Turner led a delegation that included 3 refugees, Tech the Gorvak historian, Era the Salani philosopher, and a Threen engineer named VOL. When Vex saw them, healthy and unafraid, something shifted in his understanding of the universe. These were people whose worlds he had helped destroy, yet they stood before him without hatred. Commander, Tech said, his voice calm, I watched you burn my cities. But these humans taught me something. The cycle of vengeance must end somewhere. Let it end here. The meeting lasted 2 hours. When the Earth delegation left, they carried with them something unprecedented. A personal message from Commander Vex to the refugees, acknowledging their survival and wishing them well done as the Imperial Armada prepared to leave. General Harris sent one final message. Commander Vex, Earth's door remains open to peaceful contact. Perhaps one day, your empire will choose cooperation over conquest. Vex's reply was simple. Perhaps. The 10,000 ships turned as one and accelerated toward the edge of the solar system. As they prepared to enter hyperspace, Lieutenant Krell asked, Sir, what will you tell the Emperor? Vex was quiet for a moment. The truth, Lieutenant. That we encountered a species that could have destroyed us, but chose not to. That Earth offers something more valuable than another conquered world. They offer a different path. Will he listen? I don't know. But the galaxy is changing. The old ways of pure conquest may not be sustainable anymore. These humans might have shown us that. As the Imperial Armada vanished into hyperspace, Earth's defenders powered down the Titan project. The quantum field generators returned to standby mode, ready to activate if needed, but hoping they never would be in the command center. General Harris turned to his team. We did it. We actually did it. Dr. Foster smiled tiredly. The question is, what happens next? We prepare, President Rodriguez said over the com. We've shown the galaxy that Earth won't be an easy target. But we've also shown that we can be reasonable. Now we see who takes which lesson to heart. Ambassador Turner was already planning. We need to reach out to more refugee populations, build stronger alliances. If the Empire rejects our treaty, we'll need friends. Outside, the stars continued to shine, holding countless worlds and species. Earth had taken its first real step onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or conquered, but as something new, a world that chose wisdom over power, cooperation over domination. In deep space, Commander Vex stood on his bridge, looking back toward the small yellow star that had changed everything. His report to the Emperor would alter the course of the Empire, one way or another. Sir? Krell asked. Do you regret not fighting? Vex considered the question. No, Lieutenant. For the first time in 300 years, I think we encountered something more powerful than weapons or ships. We encountered a species that remembered how to choose peace. And that might be the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. The Dominator jumped to hyperspace, carrying with it news that would shake an empire. Earth stood ready, its unlikely alliance of humans and refugees having accomplished the impossible. They had won without fighting. They had conquered without destroying. And in doing so, they had perhaps planted the seeds for a different kind of future among the stars. Epilogue 6 months later, a single Imperial ship returned to the edge of Earth's solar system. It transmitted one message. The Emperor has agreed to negotiations. Ambassador Turner, you are invited to neutral ground to formalize the treaty. Earth had not only survived first contact, it had changed the rules of the game entirely. The age of human expansion into space had begun, but not through conquest. Through something far more powerful, the simple idea that strength could be used to protect rather than destroy, and that sometimes the greatest victory is the battle you choose not to fight. End of story, **.